50, who own your masters? Who own your masters? I buy your masters. You better shut up. I will buy your masters.
50 Cent has officially declared war on Lil Meech after accusing him of stealing $10 million from the BM brand and enlisting Rick Ross as
thinking the dude was gonna do right by him and give him a bag and help him out and stuff like that, and he ended up being in the same spot and probably worse right now. Because just say this, man, just say if he would have held his head with 50 now, right? I don't know if 50 would have fucked with him, but 50 would have been like, yo, Tammy, leave that alone, man. Don't put that on that dude. You know what I'm saying? And 50 wouldn't have been behind it. The only reason this shit grew the way it grew against Meech is because 50 was behind.
"You stole from the empire your father built," 50 wrote in a blistering Instagram post, and he didn't hold back. "Ross, you just made yourself vulnerable." According to insiders, 50 discovered financial anomalies related to goods sales, production budgets, and suspected behind-the-scenes business dealings.
This story right here is complete and utter bullshit. As we know, Meech didn't actually leave for the halfway house. He's on home confinement because of the First Step Act and winning his 821 motion in federal court. After spending nearly 20 years in federal prison, Demetrius Big Meech Flannery left the federal prison in Coleman, Florida, Coleman Low, on October 15th for home confinement. Now, before you say I don't know what I'm talking about, it says right here that he's in the RRM in Miami. He's actually on home confinement. It says RRM because the RRM, or the halfway house, or really the re-entry manager, is administering his home confinement in Miami through the halfway house that's owned by dismissed charity.
Included Meech JRB in an article from the 1950s that included enigmatic invoices and screenshots of court records. Now he's behaving like an op. Although Rick Ross has not made any public remarks, rumors have it that he has been attempting to contract Lil Meech for a future series of his own, which has fed conjecture that this was all part of a broader conspiracy to steal BM's talent and take over the legacy. 50 is out for blood now that the money has been lost and the trust has been destroyed. Furthermore, if the numbers don't add up fast, this might turn into one of the most serious and well-publicized.
I look at the computer say, Floyd said, Nelly 50. I'm like, what did he say me for? Nelly, your first baby mama, Melissa, then took your fiance. Say that nigga.
Reports state that after years of support, guidance, and even funding his own rehabilitation, 50 Cent was taken aback by what seems to be the ultimate betrayal. 50 Cent might now have to face this issue head-on and lose any remaining support due to Rick Ross's involvement and the public disclosure of private conversations. But before things took a turn for the worse, everything started with potential. And that opportunity came directly from 50. When 50 Cent selected Demetrius Lil Meech Flannery JRB to portray his father, the infamous Big Meech, in the television series BM, it was more than just a casting call. It was a game-changing move that opened up every possibility. Lil Meech wasn't
Dad, one life. Dad, happy birthday, man. That's one of One Piece. One of One Money Team.
So he did something about it. He paid for everything himself and sent Lil Meech to 2 years of acting school, which helped him become a primetime TV star. That alone could have changed his entire future. But 50 didn't stop there. Behind the scenes, Big Meech was supporting the Flannery family financially while he was incarcerated. It was more than just business. It was dedication, respect, and trust. In their story, this confidence, according to many, was betrayed right away. According to 50 Cent, he helped the Flannery family secure almost $5 million in clean, legal funds that may build wealth and stable futures for coming generations. This was no typical TV setup. 50 had a long-range outlook. He was working on a number of spin-offs.
50 Cent says he gave the BMF family $5 million legal dollars So he does not understand where the money went, how Lil Meech blew it before Big Meech got out of jail, but he feels extremely betrayed after that picture got taken between Big Meech and Rick Ross after he got out of jail.
But look, 50. Boy, I see you struggling making that G-Unit film studio out there in Louisiana where that cheapest land at. You thought you was gonna be able to do it. You thought you was gonna be able to get them loans, and it ain't. What's wrong? What's taking so long?
Family that had once run a successful street business, this was the perfect chance to finally validate that heritage. No more cutting corners, just contracts, scripts, and residuals. Big Meech, incarcerated, witnessed it all. The Fenori name was being revived in the public consciousness by his son's rising fame. It wasn't in the news this time, though. It was broadcast on primetime television to millions of viewers. And the person behind that isn't a rapper, a label, or even a longtime friend. Entrepreneur 50 Cent kept his...
We call it renderings. You had the renderings, then you try to go get them loans, and ain't nobody loan you that money. You ain't even built the G-Unit studio yet. That might be why when I stood next to Meech, your knees buckled. Your knees buckled. Put your back against the wall. You're hustler.
Moreover, 50 said nothing. He didn't approach people pleading for praise. He kept his investment to himself. He stayed silent for years and never sought praise. But now that he is speaking up, things are different. Even though some people wonder why he's so concerned about a financial loss, the solution can be more complicated than money. 50 was the most emotionally invested theory. He firmly believed in the project, the people, and the idea. Everything changed when Big Meech was released from prison in October. The mastermind behind one of America's largest drug organizations was at last at liberty. The next stage, everyone believed, would be a reunion with 50 Cent. A photo session, a press run, some major public actions, and maybe even a combined business endeavor to show development and solidarity. They were talking about a BMF documentary that they co-produced with Big Meech himself. A celebration of legacy, cooperation, and atonement. But what happened?
Today I'm coming to tell all my supporters, you're a business owner, entrepreneur, wherever you got, I'm trying to make you go up, hit me right now.
Rick Ross, 50 Cent's long-standing nemesis. This wasn't a random meeting at a function or a chance photo op. It was an official promotion. Concerts, car shows, and appearances. From day one, Ross and Big Meech stood together like brothers. With all of the pictures, grins, embraces, and messages on Instagram, everyone could see exactly where Meech was. It also didn't feel like there was any gratitude, a shout out to 50, or even a simple thank you. Treachery. It sounded like willful disdain. 50 first said nothing, but this is the only information we have on him. Being silent does not imply giving up. It suggests that he is reloading and prepares to counterattack. Oh, that money isn't present. I helped your family legally make over $5 million, he added. It's not mine, 50 wrote in a post. Why isn't Meech being looked for by the old boy? He went to acting school because of me. Big Screech and any of your people out here did nothing. You annoy him by acting like the Black Pablo Escobar when you get home. 50 even went so far as to say that Lil Meech is now so broke that he is making paid promotional videos online for only $500 each. Something obviously went wrong when he went from being the star of a popular series and riding high off the BMF wave to demanding shoutouts.
50. Boy, I see you struggling making that G-Unit film studio out there in Louisiana where that cheapest land at. You thought you was gonna be able to do it. You thought you was gonna be able to get them loans, and it ain't. What's wrong? What's taking so long? I know you want to make your mama one of them walking stars thing. Put down there. Your mama live her own walking star.
Wasn't a subtle jab, but 50 Cent quickly escalated the situation by posting on Instagram and clowning Big Meech's page. Big Screech got Meech doing promos. $500 each. Before it's gone, get yours. 50 dropped even more right when people thought he was done, posting on a GoFundMe page. Yes, a GoFundMe for Big Meech, who was the intended recipient. Let's face it, There's a 90% chance that 50 made that campaign himself for fun. The internet went crazy as soon as it appeared on the timeline, and people were incredulous. According to the GoFundMe, Big Meech specifically requested financial assistance to pay for an Airbnb apartment that cost $30,000 per month. But 50 wasn't finished, and he returned full circle, adding another name to the confusion. Doug, a 42-year-old rapper, claimed that in a now viral post, Doug paid Big Meech $100,000. 50 pointed out that this was a serious mistake and spoke harshly, saying, "My ninja, your dad, giving Screech $100,000 was a mistake. You could have provided your ninjas with that. You've always been stubborn." 42 Doug was not going to put up with it, of course, and jumped on Instagram and punched back hard, defending Meech in his city. "No ninja can convince me to oppose Detroit. Show me a rat, big bra, or stop talking so much." The real question, though, is now, how does a former drug lord who is now the focus of a television show end up having problems paying his rent? Tony Yao says the response might be more embarrassing than expected. Yeo said in an interview that he was actually asking Lil Baby for financial support after Big Meech was released. That's right, rappers were allegedly being approached by the man behind BM for a handout. If true, that would explain why 50 was so critical of him, as he feels that everything he created was thrown away after being taken for granted. Big Meech even complained about his own son's lack of financial support, which, to be honest, just makes things worse. Look at how Lil Meech has been spending money like it's nothing, according to Tony Yao. He reportedly spent over $500,000 on a personalized BM chain and $100,000 on Chrome Hearts pants, and he's out here showing off his expensive jeans and Richard Mille watches as if nothing were wrong, even though his dad is allegedly having trouble paying the rent. Tony Yao didn't sugarcoat the situation. He called it what it is. According to the rumors, 50% weren't upset about the expense, but rather that it was a waste, no planning, no investments, no future stacking, just careless spending with no results. That kind of action is not only stupid, but it is insulting to everything he assisted construct. And he hit what many refer to as the final boss level of petty just when it appeared that 50 had finally finished venting. Rumor has it that 50 Cent purchased a halfway house where Big Meech must reside by law. That's right, Big Meech, who once controlled entire cities and operated a billion-dollar narcotics business, is accused of paying rent to 50 Cent, the man he denigrated. Naturally, 50 couldn't help but tell the world, "Business is business," he added with a smile. During an interview, "Cleaning up filthy stuff all day is what I'm doing with that ninja on toilet duty." Fans are enjoying the irony that, despite Meech's official release from prison, he is not truly free as most people would think. 50 is a real savage, one commenter stated. He maintains a professional demeanor at all times. Respect only. I've never seen a burn this bad. Despite his weekly fan base, some people don't think this latest move is real. Some critics are calling the halfway house story full and complete rubbish. It may not even be a halfway house Big Meech is staying in, he said. But we're talking about 50 Cent here. The same man who once bought tickets to a Ja Rule concert so that the front rows would remain empty. He is the only person who could successfully purchase a government property out of retaliation in order to make a statement. Additionally, given his wealth and history of trolling, Lil Meech, on the other hand, made it clear where he stands. "I made sure to ask God to bring my father home to my family before I asked him for anything," he wrote on Instagram. "My prayers were heard, Dad. You have my undying affection. Death prior to disgrace." That last line was both emotional and a declaration. Neutral is no longer Lil Meech's game. He will always be on Big Meech's side. No questions were asked, But it seems that the Fenori family is now befriended by Rick Ross, who did not contribute to the creation or upkeep of the BMF legacy. No hesitation, no delay. He got Big Meech to co-sign him, started organizing a welcome home show, and started a promotion as if it were the beginning of something big. However, insiders claim that this was not about honoring Meech, but rather about grabbing the opportunity. Rick Ross hired Meech to build his brand after spotting a window and dropping a check. The goal was business, not family, and 50 saw the play at once. This was leverage, not affection, and that was the ultimate betrayal from the 1950s. Another name is then caught in the middle of this chaos. Floyd Mayweather. There is history there, as you're probably aware. 50 Cent entertains his fans every week, but not everyone believes this latest rumor is true. Some claim that the entire Halfway House story is a fabrication, calling it outright trolling. According to one reviewer, this story is complete and utter nonsense. It may not even be a halfway house Big Meech is staying in, he said, but this is 50 Cent, a man well known for his bold theatrical gestures and for having the resources and motivation to do crazy exploits. He's the only one who could actually purchase a residence that is legally required by someone in order to convey a message. Because of his history of strategic trolling, almost anything he says seems plausible. In contrast, Lil Meech made it clear what he believed. I made sure to ask God to bring my father home to my family before I asked him for anything, he wrote in an emotional Instagram post. My prayers were heard, Dad. You have my undying affection. Death prior to disgrace. That last sentence wasn't just sentiment. It was a declaration. He's out of the middle now. He is fully committed to writing for Big Meech. When Rick Ross was involved, that shift in loyalty took on even greater significance. Ross moved quickly after Big Meech was released, and with the public's support, he started organizing a welcome home concert and started publishing advertising material. Although it seemed like a celebration, many onlookers saw something quite different. This seems to have little to do with honoring Meech. Rather, it seemed to be a calculated business decision. Ross had never contributed to the establishment of BMF's legacy. Suddenly, though, he was positioned next to its founder with a simple handshake and check. Loyalty wasn't that. Rather, it had to do with branding, and 50 saw the optics right away. This wasn't just a bad taste, he believed. It was an intentional betrayal. Floyd Mayweather, because in regard to long-standing conflicts and this rivalry, is still going strong because of unresolved business. If you remember that video, you'll know exactly what's going to happen next. 50 Cent's challenge to Floyd Mayweather to read one page from a book was more than just a joke. It was a shot. A well-timed, humorous jab meant to reveal tension that had been building for years behind the scenes. And now that Rick Ross and Big Meech are involved, the fire is rekindling. Floyd Mayweather, who is known for hanging out with influential people, has started to appear more often with Meech's group. One thing has become clear through public exchanges, photos, and subliminal messages. The former boxing champion may be backing Ross and Meech out of strategy, opportunity, or loyalty. I don't like this change. I see it as just another piece of evidence in an expanding pattern. His former supporters are now supporting his detractors, and he doesn't take it lightly when those connections jeopardize his legacy, especially one connected to the BMF brand he helped revive. Since Ross and Floyd are reportedly working on a documentary series about Big Meech's life that will be different from 50 Cent's already established BMF program, if this is true, it would lead to direct competition, undermining the very empire that 50 strove to finance and establish. Every move is deliberate in this high-stakes game of brand ownership, loyalty, and reputation. BMF was over, and perhaps Lil Meech's career was too. 50 Cent was upfront about it and has lost faith in this camp. Big Meech, on the other hand, shocked the industry and beyond by publicly demonstrating his commitment by siding with Rick Ross. What if, however, this was more than just betrayal? Could it be that Big Meech was subtly ruining his son's future? It's not as crazy as it may appear, and the hypothesis is gaining traction. On the surface, it seemed like just another industry feud. Rick and 50 Cent's hardlines conflicting business ethics from a wider angle, though. This is more than just a BM series or the narrative's control. Some say it's about a father subtly competing with his child while grappling with the fact that his legacy was built without him while he was in prison. Making decisions based on pride rather than vision can result from a dynamic where success feels menacing rather than motivating. It seems like Big Meech may have tried to regain the limelight, risking everything in the process, rather than applauding Lil Meech's rise. If true, this shatters what could have been a powerful generational empire. The stars have not announced a new season since 50 Cent resigned, and Ross is unable to legally produce a BM film despite his involvement. The project that took 50 years to build is about to fall apart. The final question remains: was this a long-term plan that was planned from behind the gates, or did Lil Meech betray 50 Cent for a $10 million opportunity?